Have you ever felt like you need a law degree just to figure out what you're signing? Well, in this explainer, using some great materials from the ADEX Instituto, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of legal contracts and give you the tools to read them with real confidence.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're staring at pages of text and it feels like it's written in a completely different language. That moment of total confusion, it's a universal feeling. But here's the thing. What if all that complicated language isn't actually meant to confuse you? What if it's designed to be incredibly precise? It's a system, really. And today, we're going to crack the code on that system. We'll look at the key terms, the phrases that connect them, and even the grammar that gives it all its power. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the building blocks. Every single contract is built on a foundation of essential terms. This is the core vocabulary you've absolutely got to know. And it's so important to remember that every single one of these words has a specific, legally binding purpose. These aren't just suggestions, They are the fundamental pieces of the puzzle we're about to solve. Let's kick things off with a big one: consideration. It sounds kind of formal, but all it really means is the value being exchanged. It's the this for that of any agreement, the money for the goods, the service for the payment. Without consideration, you don't have a real binding contract. Now, when business goes global, things can get pretty complicated, right? That's exactly where Incoterms come in. Just think of them as a universal rulebook for international shipping. They spell out very clearly who is responsible for the goods and who pays for what at every single step of the journey. Next up, payment terms. This part is critical. It's where you find all the nitty-gritty details. How the money will change hands, bank transfer, letter of credit, and, just as important, when it's all due. This little section gets rid of any guesswork about the money. And finally, the warranty. This is the seller's big promise put in writing. It's their legally binding guarantee that what you're buying is going to work as advertised and meet a certain level of quality. So, we've got the key terms down. But a contract is way more than just a list of definitions. Now let's look at the legal glue that holds it all together, the phrases that connect those words into powerful, binding statements. You can think of these connectors as the road signs of the document. A word like whereas sets the stage, kind of gives you the backstory. Now, therefore is the big green light. It's saying, okay, the real deal starts now. And in witness whereof is the final stop right before the signatures. They guide you through the whole thing. And this is where contracts get really clever. These condition-based connectors, like provided that or in the event that, basically create if-then situations. They build out a roadmap for all sorts of possibilities, making sure there's a clear plan no matter what happens down the line. All right, for our final piece, let's look at something you probably didn't think mattered this much: grammar. Believe it or not, in a contract, the tense of a verb can literally change everything. So when you're reading and you see the simple present tense, it's not just a casual statement. It is a solid, binding duty. See this? The seller delivers the goods. That is not a suggestion. Using delivers turns it into a mandatory, must-do action. And if you thought this simple present was strong, the imperative is basically a direct command. There's no wiggle room. I mean, look at how direct that is. Submit payment. It's a crystal clear instruction that absolutely must be followed. So let's recap. We've got our key terms, our connecting phrases, and we know our grammar matters. But why? Why go through all this trouble for such an insane level of precision? What's the end game? Well, it really boils down to three things. First, creating total clarity, leaving zero room for ambiguity or loopholes. Second, building a logical flow so everybody knows exactly what they need to do. And third, making sure the whole thing is legally sound. It's all about creating a document so tight there are no misunderstandings. See, a good contract isn't about trapping someone in the fine print. It's about building a clear, fair, and successful blueprint that works for everyone involved. So here's the takeaway. Understanding these core elements completely changes the game. You go from being a passive signer to an informed participant. The language of contracts is no longer a barrier. It's a blueprint that you can actually read. So I'll leave you with this thought. Now that you know the code, the next time you look at a contract, what's the very first thing you're going to check for?